this tutorial is about our product attributes filters web part. I'm going to log in as administrator. I'm going to go to eSource settings, down to module admin, catalog engine, setup, and here I have my catalog tree and where I have attribute values. Attributes themselves are things like color, size, pattern, brand. They define a group of attributes of a product. So for instance, color, I've got yellow, white, stonewashed. These are attribute values. This is the attribute. So to create a new one, you click on the plus up here. Just going to give an example. Tutorial. I hit tab. It automatically populates my description. The description is what shows on the website. This can be unlimited. This is the limit of 32 characters and needs to avoid special characters. We don't use the short name or name field right now. If you want that to show to refine your products, you need to make sure you include it on the filter web part and say Save Changes. So now I should have at the bottom, I should have my tutorial one. And then I'm going to come over here into this section and I'm going to say I want to add an attribute value. So I'm going to say my tutorial, it's either of a type 1, and I'm going to save the changes. And I'm going to add another one, attribute value, type 2, tab, save the changes. So now for my tutorial attribute, I've got the possible values of type 1 and type 2. So let's go back to the site and let's go to the men's shirts, t-shirts. I have a number of products that are showing up. This product right here is my MST001 large black. And I've added my catalog engine filter web part here. So now we want to get those filters to those attributes to start showing up so they display on the website. So the first piece of that is I need to assign the attribute to the items. So I'm going to go to module admin, catalog engine, setup, assign attribute values to items. So I'm going to put in my item range here from MST001 to MST002, and that will show me all the items in that item range. So there's my black t-shirt that I had. I'm going to say select the attribute, and I want to go down here to tutorial, and I'm going to give that one a value of type 1 and say assign it to the selected items. Also on that page was MST001. I'm going to give that one type 2 and assign the selected items. So now I've assigned attributes to items. I created a new attribute and the attribute value and then just assigned it to a couple items. Once I've done that, then I need to publish. Now there's another piece that I want to review with you that needs to be set in order for those attributes to show up. If I go to my catalog tree, go to my tutorial, hierarchy, men's, this is where I had browsed, my path I had browsed, t-shirts, I need to make sure that this is checked as well, because for every root node I can determine whether or not the attributes should show. Click update again. Now if I go back to my home, I believe I don't have to publish for that. If I go to men's, shirts, t-shirts, now I start seeing my attribute. There were several other attributes that were already assigned to these items. But I should see my tutorial. So I see all my products show up, but my user is able to refine their results. So if they say I only want to see the ones that are of type tutorial, I can check that and it's going to refine my results just down to the type of tutorial. If I want to say I want type 2 as well, and it also refines my other attributes to the values just associated with these items. So now I've got the blue. Take off type 1, it's going to refresh the page, and I'll be back to just my black shirt. Oh, I'm sorry, just my blue one because I left type 2. So let's review that real quickly, what you had to do. You go to eSource settings, Module Admin, Catalog Engine Setup. I'm going to create my attribute by clicking on this green plus. I'm going to fill in an attribute name and a description, and I'm going to say include on the filter web part. If you're using Dimension Group, these are going to come into play. I'll talk about that in another tutorial. Then I'm going to highlight my attribute, and I'm going to come over here, hit the plus, and I added attribute values. The attribute values, I'm going to put an attribute value, 32 characters. The description can be more. We're not using the other fields right now. If I want to look after I assign items, I can go over to the item assignment and display item assignment, and it'll show me what items I have assigned. Last thing I did is I went to the assign attribute to attribute values. You can also import this, so this is the manual way. I hit preview the items, and I clicked on one of my items, and I selected the attribute of tutorial and the attribute value of 1, and I hit assign selected items. If I want to see what attributes are already assigned to an item, I click on the item here, and it shows me all the attributes, including my tutorial one that I had done, that are assigned. So it's this check mark and click on assign to assign a new one. And if you just want to see what's assigned to an item, you highlight the item and it'll show it up in the top. Last thing we did was to publish, and we hit publish. We did have to come back to Catalog Tree to make sure on that particular path that I was displaying attributes and attribute values. That concludes the attributes. There's also going to be a training video on importing attributes if you want to import them from a spreadsheet, as well as a training session on Dimension Group.